We'll call the TDC meeting to order. Looks like we do have a quorum. Good to see everybody. Hope you had a nice, long, and pleasurable weekend. Maybe your team won this weekend. Maybe they did not. If you're a Florida State fan, you're probably still in mourning. But Alabama fan, you're still in mourning. But nonetheless, it's always fun. Let's start off by offering up the prayer and the pledge. Do we have someone that's going to say the prayer? I'll do it. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We ask you to guide us and direct us, keep us safe throughout the rest of this day and through the rest of the week. Lord, help us to put your interests first in everything that we do. Lord, give us the discretion to make decisions that would be most effective and help our citizens in this county. We ask all these things in Christ's name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, do we have any public comments? Seeing none, approval of the minutes. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the minutes. Second. Motion by, who made the motion? Mr. Moffitt, seconded by, okay, so we got that on the record. Seconded by Mrs. Hafner. All in favor of the motion say aye. 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 All opposed no. Show it done. All right, we'll proceed to our financial report. Mrs. Alford, Summer here. Summer, you're recognized.
Good morning, Council Member Summer Alford from the Office of Management and Budget. For the month of June, total TDT expenditures amounted to $4,666,559. Looking at the budget report, which is included in your packet, you will see the year-to-date actual expenditures totaled $34,038,226. Moving on to revenue, for the month of June, total TDT collections amounted to $11,165,705. Total revenue for the month, including interest and collections, is $11,673,010. TDT collections for the South Walton District for the current year equaled $38,014,728. This represents a 2.7% decrease when compared to the prior year. North Walton TDT collections for this year equal $244,833. When compared at a 2% rate, this represents a 9.9% decrease when compared to the prior year. Reserves for the period amount to $146,075,709. This leaves an unassigned fund balance after deductions for projects, encumbrances, and beach renourishment of $33,668,371. I now respectfully request the approval of the financial report.
Chair will entertain a motion. Motion by Mrs. Hafner. Second by Mr. Lucas. All in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All opposed no. Show it done. Okay, thank you, Mrs. Alford. New business. Kelly?
Good morning, Kelly Carter, Director of Marketing. So, Lisa, oh, I've got it, sorry. So today, I'm back, discussion and recommendation for the remaining applications of the FY26 event grant program. As requested, I provided that information to you all, and you all have had it. And at this time, I ask, what would you like to do? Would you like to move forward, or more discussion, or please advise what you would like to do at this time?
To the board. What is the desire of the board? Yeah, Vice Chair Mrs. Wise Coble, you're recognized.
I think for me, Kelly, first and foremost, they printed the information for me. That helps me get my head around it. I looked at this stuff this weekend. I'm coming back to the same place I was for this year. These are supplemental marketing dollars. I think that we've had some great points made by the public and by the BCC, i.e. all of these organizations have to sell tickets or receive funding for where they go because there's not an operational penny for them to operate these events in the request that they're making. I thought all three applications, they're outstanding, they're well done, they are driving room nights into Walton County. I think the fact that, I think it was Jim Bagby that made the point about seasons versus events. I do agree that we can look at that in the future, so that somebody is not requesting by event, but I think this also might be a good thing for us to do some workshops on with the actual people that put on the events, similar to what the BCC is doing with their nonprofit request. I think that would be a great exercise to really hear these folks out. And I'm not saying that the program doesn't need to be massaged and looked at in the future, but I think for this year, for me, it's come right back around to the original recommendation made to the BCC.
Additional comments? Mr. Moffitt?
Yeah, I would agree. I kind of shared last meeting that, I actually don't believe it's within this council's direct purview to pick individual recipients of the grant. I think that the tourism department, by way of Kelly and her team, do a great job evaluating. You guys have actually evaluated and vetted these twice. I think
Yes,
all
sir.
three of these organizations were suggested to be approved both of those times, and I think we need to trust the department to do what they've already done.
Additional comments? Seeing none?
Mr. Chair, may I comment just
Yeah.
briefly to the board? A number of you received emails over the last week, and possibly the weekend, from a member of the public associated with one of the potential grantees, raising the question about members of this council being able to vote on these matters under conflict of interest standards. I've seen a variety of those emails. Some of you forwarded them to me. I was copied on one to Vice Chair Cody Wise. So let me just be clear. Your conduct is governed by 112.3143 Florida statute entitled Voting Conflicts. The Ethics Commission has issued a litany of opinions over the years about status level conflicts, which are where you couldn't even discuss, couldn't be on the same board, couldn't do any of these things, when someone serves on a board such as yours and is also on a nonprofit board of directors, trustees, or otherwise. As to status level conflicts, the Ethics Commission has been abundantly clear, there is not a conflict of interest. As to voting level conflicts, that standard is even more direct. It has to adhere to your, a relative, or a business associate's special private gain or loss. An uncompensated, not-for-profit board seat does not create a business relationship or association under Florida law under 112.3143. I know a couple of the emails had some additional language in there that expressed the person's awareness of having to do this on other boards around the state. That standard is not embodied in the Florida Ethics Code, nowhere close to it. I've advised members of this council for multiple years that you are not legally required to abstain. And in fact, under Florida law, 286.012, you are required to vote on matters unless you have a conflict of interest. Now, if you feel you cannot be fair in voting on any of these matters because of your relationship, and you want to put down in writing on the ethical disclosure form you have to do to abstain, that I cannot be fair. There is an appearance of impropriety that exists on this issue because of my service of a not-for-profit board, and I cannot be fair on this issue, then you have the right to disclose that, and in the future, someone could take that issue up, but at least you disclose why. Under 286.012, you have the option to do so. But what I would say to this board is, it is well understood that everybody up here is volunteering to this board. It is typically understood that you volunteer on additional boards. And if we go down this path of everyone exercises that I'm going to not vote because one person accused accuses me of a non-existent conflict of interest, that's not in compliance with your statutory obligation, nor is it gonna help this board do its job. Similarly, if you don't believe you can be fair in evaluating an overall grant package, which are how these are presented, not line item by line, then we probably need to have a lengthy conversation about whether or not you're able to serve in the broader role this council requires. Because every action this council takes necessarily affects businesses of you and other people in this community. You have to be a tourism involved or related individual or an owner operator to be. So there's no way your service here cannot overlap with those. So the short answer is that is not the case. And I'm just going to say this because every time I tend to give one of these opinions, the question does get asked. First off, the Ethics Commission is the final say. I'm offering my guidance to this board of what Florida law requires. If you truly believe an ethical issue exists and are concerned about my advice, the only person who can truly adjudicate that is the Commission on Ethics. And sometimes people stand here and say, well, with all due respect to Mr. Atkins' opinion, I think you should go get somebody else to give you an opinion. Well, I think that's somewhat of a polite way of saying I don't like his opinion, so let's go opinion shop until we get the answer I like. I want to be clear. I did reach out to the Commission on Ethics. Couldn't do it on a holiday weekend, but I did this morning. Ran this by and said, I reviewed your opinion database. I can't find an opinion that says it's a standing conflict of interest. I find it's not a status level conflict under 311, 313, 312. I don't see any of those. So help me out. What am I missing? They said it is a broader definition, and only if the person believes that it creates a conflict of interest in appearance for which they also don't believe they can be fair in doing their duties, is it even a discretionary issue. But if you are a not-for-profit board and not compensated, they would not find a peculiar relationship sufficient to create a status level or voting level conflict of interest. And they cited me to some additional opinions that don't directly say the voting level part, but they definitely support every bit of that opinion. So, to the board, I don't believe any of you, even though you serve on boards of directors, have a conflict of interest pursuant to Florida law. And I know that may come up, but I want you to know it is my interpretation of the law that you are clear, and I believe ample opinion of the Ethics Commission support that.
Ms. Edwards, you're recognized.
Thank you. Clay, I appreciate you taking the time on that. For full disclosure, I'm incoming chair for the Destin Charity Wine Auction Foundation, but I am also a significant, or have been a donor for the Sinfonia and participated in some of these events and a member from Maddie Kelly. I want to state for the record, I think I can be extremely fair overall in terms, and I appreciate, in terms of what's been presented in a package. But Kelly, I appreciate your team going through and putting everything together several different times. I would like to see a direction based, and I did watch, I apologize, I wasn't at the last meeting, but I was able to watch it in person. I mean, on the screen while on my family vacation. They really appreciated that. But I'd like to see the direction that this does significantly get reworked, and that we stick back to the timeline of that April, May of applications, and then a month to review, so we're not kind of coming into this fall timeframe if there are any changes.
Anyone else? Seeing none, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we return our original recommendation to the BCC after a thorough additional review of these three applications, that they are to be approved, or that is our recommendation to approve the final three grants for this fiscal year.
Do we have a second? Have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed, no. Show it done. All right,
Thank-
let me,
Oh, go ahead.
thank you. Are you done?
I was just going to say thank you, and that be prepared, next meeting will come with more information about how we can rework the program, because there's only so long to get that done based on Ms. Edwards' request.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, I want to go back up to, we approved the meeting minutes for August 5, 2025, but we did not approve the steering committee meeting minutes. So the chair would entertain a motion to approve the steering committee meeting minutes on tab 2. Is there a motion? We have a motion. a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed, no. Show it done. Okay, next, we'll go back to tab 4. Let's see, we have a request, the TDC recommendation of the AJGA sponsorship for $40,000. We have Mr. Patrick Cansfield here.
Yes, good morning, Brad. Patrick Cansfield, Director of Development with the American Junior Golf Association. We were in attendance here, I believe last month or a couple months back. My colleague Matt Emmy was here. As a reminder, the AJGA, we're a 501c3 nonprofit with the mission to help grow kids on and off the golf course with the end goal of earning a college golf scholarship. And we do that by hosting events all across the world throughout the year, servicing over 10,500 kids that play in our events. It's the main recruiting ground for NCAA college golf. Some of you may have seen in the news this weekend, Tiger Woods' son, Charlie, actually played in one of our events, made a hole-in-one out at TPC Sawgrass in our Junior Players Championship. So with that, wanted to update you guys. I know one of the things that we talked about last time was the dates. We are committed to staying off the May dates as well as spring break. The course is flexible as far as that goes. We have provided a budget in the minutes today for you guys to review. And I'm open to any questions that you guys still might have in regards to approving our event for next year.
Are there any questions for Mr. Cansfield? Any questions? You recognized.
I thank you for providing the budget. I was one of those who asked for this last time. I was surprised to see that you have no other sources of revenue. So this 40,000 would be your only source of revenue. And how was this funded last year?
Correct. So all of our events are locally funded. So they're all supported in the community, whether it be from CVBs, business owners, individuals, family foundations, what have you. Last year, this event fit into a time in our calendar that was perfect. That was why we moved forward with it in year one, taking the chance that we'd find the funding to move forward with it in the future. All of our events, 67% of our overall operating budget comes directly from sponsorship. And from that, the AJGA, we're committed to making the AJGA as affordable and accessible as possible. So when you look at junior golf across the landscape, it is the most affordable, option when you look at, the kids are getting 4 days of golf, typically a meal provided, gifts, and everything else that goes into that. So that's kind of where we're at.
Additional questions? Comments? What's the desire of the board? Oh,
Commissioner.
Yeah, Mr. Moffitt.
Your colleague last month had some stats on expected room nights and the like. Do you have that handy? Can you remind us?
Yeah, I don't have that exactly handy, but I can give you a general overview. So roughly you're looking at 300 room nights throughout the week of the event. Players and parents are coming from roughly 10 to 15 states, 3 to 5 countries to participate. All of our events are based on merit as far as how you get in, so it's all a ranking system. And so if we get 400 applications, the top 70 kids will be filled directly based on their ranking. So it doesn't matter if they're from the state of Florida, California, wherever, it's strictly based on that. And same with our qualifier the day prior to the event. So that's a general overview for you there.
Anyone else? Seeing, Ms. Edwards, you recognize.
And I apologize. So the spring break and the May dates no longer a part of the consideration, but the June to July.
Correct. Yep. And the course is flexible as far as what we decide on with you guys here today. So.
And then to point earlier made, would you go and seek any other sponsorships outside of us that are local?
Yeah, so the goal is to have additional funds on top of that to have what we call net proceeds to benefit a charity here in the community as well as the AJGA's foundation, which supports those kids that have the talent to compete at the national level but maybe don't have the financial means to do so. Each of those scholarships awards them up to $7,000 per year to be able to play not only our events but also USGA, PGA of America, and independent events all across the country. So that's the greater mission of what we're trying to do from that standpoint.
So those proceeds then would go outside of this area?
50% would stay inside of this area, and the other 50% would go back to that foundation, which could support kids from this area in Florida.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Questions, comments? Yeah, you're recognized.
When I look at these dates, so you're saying that January 16th through the 19th would be a viable option?
Potentially, yeah, if that's included on
Because
there.
it's important to understand the date from our perspective,
Yeah.
because the other key summer dates are really not, it's a tough environment here when we've just cut $200,000 out of our event grant program for, for reasons that we all clearly understand, but that truly is my hesitation. But I would be less hesitant, I guess, on a January 16th through the 19th.
That is Songwriters Festival weekend as well,
Oh,
the January date. I mean, I'm gonna make the same point I made last time, that, we've cut the event budget by $250,000, actually. And, none of those events are able to come up here and ask for $40,000 for just to cover expenses. And I do think the whole program needs to be reevaluated, but if we have a sponsorship program, I think that should be open to all events and not just one or two golfing events. So I don't really support having a one-off sponsorship.
Not if we've cut our budget, then we're adding 40,000, so that's, if we're gonna add 40,000, let's go back and see who we cut.
Ms. Edwards?
Is there an opportunity, if this didn't happen next year, that you could then apply for the grant? Is this something that you do here annually? And I apologize if I missed that, or if you're looking to.
Yeah, so our
this
goal
year.
would be to make this an annual event with annual support. And so that is, our longest standing event is in Ashland, Kentucky. We've been there for over 40 straight years at Bellefonte Country Club. That's the gold standard of what we're trying to produce, all across the world. So from our standpoint, we would like to make a long-term commitment if that's something that you guys are also able to make.
So I very much appreciate you getting us all of this information. I do have hesitation just because we've gone through months of going and stripping some marketing budgets and some grants for, organizations that have historically shown some economic impact here. And I think it is difficult to face some of those individuals and give a one-off separate from some of those grants. But I would very much encourage the opportunity for you guys to apply the grant program in the future.
So you had mentioned earlier, we all saw on ESPN replays of Charlie Woods Hole-in-One. You said that was one of you guys' one of y'all's events. How was that event played for?
Yeah, so St. Johns County Tourism, they help support that event. We also have the PGA Tour that supports that event, as well as Rolex. So those are the main sponsors of that tournament. Rolex is actually our longest standing partner of the AJGA, so they have multiple events across the board. Their intention is not to sell timepieces to the kids. It's more to be associated with, the best brand in junior golf, and that's the AJGA. That's been around since 1978.
Mr. Oliver? I got you next.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Matt Alger, and just wanted to make a quick clarification that this event would not be eligible for an events grant because they're not asking for reimbursable marketing dollars. They're asking for dollars for operations. So it would have to be purely a sponsor. So just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah.
So for the grant applicants, do they also know that there's an opportunity then to present an option for them to come in for 40,000 for just a sponsorship level?
So we don't traditionally do sponsorships, right? If somebody reaches out to us to request funding, we kind of go through this process, which is why we brought this to you all, but we don't traditionally have just, sponsorships where people can come and ask for dollars.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Cass?
Might I suggest that I just go to the local community and some of the business owners we have in the area?
Is the date, is that kind of, are you flexible on the dates? Because it seems like they're,
We're flexible if the January dates, you know, what works for the team here.
let me
that's
ask
something we
my
can go back to the
colleagues,
course
like,
with.
what about this time of year? It seems like, you know, back to school, everybody's transitioning, you're starting to see people leave the area. Is this a good time of year for something like that? Would there be some value in having something like this right here at the tail end of the season?
I think there is, but I think it speaks to a larger conversation of would these students or young children be able to get out of school for that long of a period? So I think that's, my guess is that's why these dates are.
So Labor Day weekend would be possible, so we hosted multiple events this past weekend. So that is something that we could look at if that made sense. I did stay in one of your hotels last night. They did mention that they were dead. The lady at the front desk mentioned that, you know, that was something that she was not used to, just going from all the travel to not much right now. So that is something that we could look at if the golf course could host that weekend.
What is, go ahead.
For me, I think it's more kind of economic, I think is what we really need to be thinking about. We're entering an upcoming budget year where we're asked the department to shrink their spending by 5%, right? These kind of things are going to be impacted, but meanwhile, we're also trying to figure out how do we attract or re-attract our kind of bread and butter guests that we're watching leave us, right, year over year. And I think we need to look at these things from an economic standpoint and understand, I mean, just kind of quick math, if we're talking 300 room nights, $300 a night, right, it's $90,000, that's $4,500 in taxes, right, and incremental TDT tax coming back to the TDT. It's a negative ROI, right? I mean, unless we've got some real exposure and we've got people that are coming back year over year over year, but I don't know that these travelers, these demographic, right, are going to be the ones that are new to this area, right, are going to be repeat guests to this area. I think we need to, and this isn't just about this program, right, this is kind of a broader conversation over, I think we need to shift our thinking into this, you know, as we approach these kind of things over the next year. Right, understanding, do we have a real positive return with these kind of things? And to me, it's kind of similar to the PGA situation. I think if we really boil it down and look, does it have a positive ROI? I don't know that it does. And for me, this is kind of the same situation. So just my 2
one
cents.
counter to that, if you don't mind, I would just say that it's not a tangible thing that you can look at. This definitely is a demographic that is looking for, you know, vacation homes and opportunities to travel outside of just golf, with them, you know, having kids that are, you know, middle school, high school age, looking for family vacations, what have you. So I do think that puts you on the map with kind of the right clientele potentially as well. Not tangible, can't prove that, but would say we do see that, you know, with other destinations.
What is the desire of the board? I guess Mr. Howard, you're winding up like you may have something to say.
Well, I was
Taylor.
listening to Bob, and when he said it looks like a great opportunity for you to come and speak with private enterprise. And that would be one of our companies here that have golf courses and lodging, or just golf courses. And for the 40,000, I would think we have a couple of big players there that would be very receptive to this pitch, is my thoughts. Because you've got some pretty big sponsors. Rolex isn't bad. Thank you.
Is there, so it seems like there's a consensus to not do anything? Does someone offer something different? Well, we'll allow you to maybe collaborate with Mr. Lacasse and see if there's some options that may exist here on the private level.
I'd love to, yeah. Thanks, Bob, for the recommendations, and appreciate the time.
Yes, sir. Okay, that completes our new business. Is there any old business? Seeing none, let's move into the director's update. Let's start with marketing. Kelly Carter?
Yes, sir. excited to be up here with you guys today because I have some really great things that I want to share. As Mr. Moffett was talking about earlier, you know, we're really trying to look at our tried and true bread and butter markets. And one of the things that we need to remember is that there's been the great migration from California and the great migration from the Northeast. A lot of those people are moving into our markets that we would typically market to. So those are some new potential visitors that may not have a beach decided. So we're definitely looking and making sure that we can get some of these new people, because if you're coming from California to Houston or Dallas or Austin or some of those places, you don't have your beach picked out. And obviously, if you can come from California, then you probably need a beach and you need a vacation. So we're looking at some of those things. And then, you know, into Nashville and Atlanta, they have some really great numbers of moving from not only California, but the Northeast. So we're definitely looking at that, and we're keeping it top of mind. And we're also looking at digital and television for that as well. Scouted some potential places to create one, if not two spots for Authentic Walton. Currently, Authentic Walton just kind of has like a little video that's kind of worked in with some other things, but looking to build some more brand awareness around that. And through the Triumph dollars, we had some more money that we could do that with, and so we're going to continue to do that. We did complete 2 new spots for South Walton. And with those spots, these were some of the things that, you know, you all talked about, like, yes, the beach is what we do, but some of these spots had, you know, some off-the-beach stuff, like taking a family photo, doing some riding bikes over one of the lakes, some things like that. You can still see the beach, you know, the beach is part of it, but also give you some options of things you might want to do. We probably wouldn't put these spots out as a first time just being introduced to the destination. These would be the spots that if you're a visitor that we can track that's already been here, we would send these to you so that you would know that there's more to do than just the beach. So really looking at where we are in that funnel and making sure that we get the right spots to the right people. I have an influencer fam next week with 5 different influencers, from one from New York, one from Chicago, 2 from Texas, and an in-state influencer. She's in Jacksonville, but she's very much interested in all of the active things that we've got going on. And that's something we've never really went after as any kind of in-state marketing. That's some things that Visit Florida said this weekend that they were really interested in, how you promote your vacation destination to in-state. So I'm going to look at that and see if there's any kind of things that we can do to partner with Visit Florida if we're doing some of this in-state stuff. Chicago Gourmet is coming up in 2 weeks. We will be up there. I am taking Chef David Cunningham from Salt and Cinders, and he's a private chef, and I am taking Chef Jim Shirley, which we all know from the Bay, Great Southern, and all of those restaurants. We were very fortunate to come home with a Flagler Award for the Meetings Guide, which you all saw last week. So our last meeting, you all saw that, and very, very fortunate to come home with that Flagler Award. Very happy to have it. So talking about some of our programs, just a reminder that if you are, you know, you do need something and you need some help from us in any way, let me know, and we can put you onto some supplemental advertising, even if you didn't participate in co-ops. Supplemental's always on, and within 3 to 4 weeks, we can have you and some ads up and running through social. Like I said earlier, activations are in full swing. Tourism Talks, that's something that, you know, I mention quite regularly up here. It's meant to be less than 15 minutes to learn something about something that's going on in the tourism department. So we were very fortunate that we had Dave Marr, who is Chief Digital Officer at Zender, to present at the Walton Area Chamber for our the Tourism Chamber Lunch. We were able to video that and work it into a really great AI talk, and it's kind of like just introduction to AI and how some people in your seats could use AI. So I think that's a really good one you guys should watch. You'll probably see maybe it coming out in the Connection as well. Just next up, we've already filmed communications with Nicole, and it's kind of like if you have questions on how we do communications and PR, Nicole's there to answer them, and we kind of gave you a good overview of that. One of the other things that we have coming up this month in September, we have the International Coastal Cleanup. That's where everybody gets together and, you know, cleans up the beach. So we also had Cece Canute. She put together a tourism talks on why keep Walton County's why Keep Walton County Beautiful is important and how we participate with ICC. Publications, same publications as before. I notice you guys keep seeing them up there. That's because we're working really hard to ensure that we have all of the paper, all of everything at one time, so that we can just do one quote and we can get the best, we can get the most value for our money. So we're quoting all of those together and getting them printed. Authentic Walton Guide is already on the website, and Bridal Guide should be on the website soon. Active Guide, we're in the very last throes of going through the information. Something I'm super excited to talk about is web. And at the end of this month, we will have a brand new AI travel assistant. He's called Seymour. It says Ask Seymour. So he will help you put together your vacation. He will help you put all that together. You can then send it to someone, share it with someone, and continue on down that funnel to make sure that we get these people to you all to book. And then one more thing with web is Walton County Tourism FL is being made a little bit more user-friendly, and we're incorporating additional information. Some of the things that that Matt requested was making sure that we were putting you guys' meetings on there, also showing the tax collection, all of the things that we do that, you know, you may want to know at any certain time and may not want to reach out to someone. And then lastly, you've probably seen a lot of emails from me, sorry about that, but I'm trying to collect some information. So I sent out personal emails to everyone asking, you know, what you're seeing for your fall trends and what you're seeing how your people are booking and that sort of thing. And then I'm compiling all of that together to make sure that anything that we're doing this fall kind of aligns with you all. Additionally, I also reached out to not just leisure accommodations partners, but also group accommodation partners to see what they're seeing for groups, to see if we needed to do anything more there. And then the other thing you probably heard from me, and you'll see another email coming out from me, is I'm asking you all to participate in the non-returning visitor study. And I know that's a little bit harder for you guys to do because you have to go back and figure out, did they come, did they not come? But this will be the only way that we can figure out who these people are that did not return and why they did not return. And so I know there's some of you that are a little hesitant about having us deploy a survey on your behalf. However, keep in mind, it would not be us, it would be DSG. But there is the option that, say, Royal Destinations and Mr. Moffitt and Homeowners Collection, Ms. Wise-Coble, they are putting the survey out themselves. And so I will help keep reminding them of what I will provide, all the information, everything you need to put it out, and then them go to the survey and then send the reminders of when we need to do that. So those are just a couple of things that we're working on, and if you have any questions.
Questions for Ms. Carter? Yes, Ms. Evans.
Thank you. I have a question as it relates to the AI travel assistant. So when first does that go live?
It should October 1. We got to finish it in this budget year.
And then second, where is it generating most of its information? Is it through historical, from your website?
From our website.
And then you had mentioned that you can direct some of those individuals to accommodations to book. How are you deciphering where to send them, who to send them?
It pulls in through Book Direct. So if you have the information, if you are part of Book Direct can tell you whether or not you have we don't make any decisions on that. That is like, it then pulls everything that meets your criteria. So if whoever they're looking for a 5-night stay, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, it's going to pull everything and give all of those options, because that's how we do it. And it's just randomized through our website. So.
And are you doing the same for some of our recreation restaurants?
Yes,
working with
everything.
those?
Because basically you can ask it, say, hey, I'm coming this weekend and this is what I'm looking to do. And it combs the website and tells you, oh, these are the things that meet that. You can then take and email that to someone so that you can then share it complete with the links.
I know that, AI in general is just moving at such a rapid pace. I would also like to see if there is some continued opportunity to reach out to stakeholders to get engaged ongoing, to participate. I know eventually Google's moving to kind of bot to bot. So at some point here in the near future, when people look to make a reservation, it's going to be a robot to a robot creating negotiations and pricing. And so I would say that probably a lot of our individuals up here are very well aware of kind of what's coming down the pipeline, but they'll have to make sure that they provide information to you all as well.
So, we don't have any pricing or anything like that on our side, okay?
No, I understand. I'm
Okay.
giving that as an example
Okay.
of how quickly these things are moving and how we're having to stay engaged from that perspective. So if we're having to supply some of that information, make changes on our websites to be more attractive, we
Okay.
want to make sure that if there are any changes here, we're not losing opportunity. And there's one accommodations individual or company who's
Okay.
maybe doing better than the other. So I would just ask for make sure that from a recreation, restaurants, just stakeholder accommodations, just stay involved in this conversation.
So what I can do is I can go back and talk with Dave, who's our Chief Digital Officer at Zender, and he's the one that's really leading the charge on this, and he's very, very smart about all these things. I can ask him if he can put together some best practices that we can share with everyone, and that way, you make sure your website is up to speed that way when it's talking, because if you are an accommodation partner, once you say what you want, I'm gonna send you to Book Direct, and then that actual accommodation partner gets to capture that sale so that they don't have to make 2 or 3 clicks. So we're gonna do that. So yeah, I can definitely do that. I'd love to do that.
Thank you. That'd be great. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none? Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
All right, let's move to communications. Nicole?
Good morning, council members. What a beautiful fall morning, right? It's my pleasure to be here today to give you a communications highlight for the month of July. And let's see if we can get going here. Of course, you have this information in your packet. But within the month, we had we had 17 print and digital articles. You'll see to your right a list of what many of those articles were, those highlights. And they generated almost 692 million impressions with an earned media value of almost $4 million. We have lots of projects going on right now, and it's too many to read out in all that little fine print, but lots of desk sides and group visits, group FAMs planned. We have one coming in this next week, or the next couple of weeks, September 18 through 21, that really focuses on the culinary heritage that we have right now here in South Walton and in authentic Walton. It's going to be a great trip that really speaks to those different audiences that we're looking at. And then you are also able to see many of the other desk side visits that we're having in preparation for Kelly's visit to Chicago Gourmet, and a couple of others. In fact, I had one Friday morning with the Chicago editor of Chicago Parents. So lots going on from that standpoint. And then here we have just some of the snapshots of those particular articles. If you'd like to take a view of those, you're certainly welcome to. And we encourage that, in fact. Is there any question I can answer for anybody on the communication side?
Questions, comments? Seeing none? Thank you.
Okay.
All right, let's move to group sales. Karen?
Good morning, Council. Karen Morris, Director of Sales. So I have updates for you today for the Visitor Center and the group sales team. Lisa attended Destination Southeast. It's an event that focuses on connecting destinations with top meeting planners. That was held the first week of August in South Florida. So at that event, she had 30 one-on-one appointments with planners who were actively sourcing southeastern destinations for their upcoming events. We also had a hotel partner join us. And as a direct result, we've already received 2 RFPs, and those are totaling 450 potential room nights for our off-season. So one is for February of 26, and the other one is January of 27. So that aligns really well with our goal of driving business in the off-season. So on August 14th, we sponsored a meeting planner roundtable that was in Tallahassee, and it gave us really great exposure to about 40 meeting planners. So we had stage time to spotlight Walton County as a top destinations for meetings and events, and we were able to engage directly with those attendees. At this event, We also took 2 of our hotel partners with us as well, and they had some stage time to present their specific qualities. So I feel like that really reinforced the collaborative spirit of our destination. Then next, we have coming, well, actually, this event wrapped at the end of last week. So Connect Marketplace was really the biggest event that we do every year. We have an activation booth at that event, but it just wrapped up last week, so I'll have an update for you in the October meeting for that. And then as far as production for August for the group sales team, we distributed 13 meeting leads, and that has a potential value of 3,018 room nights, 10 wedding leads, 2 film leads, and then we also conducted 2 destination site tours with meeting planners who are looking at South Walton for a future meeting. So that really goes, I'm sure you guys know that goes a long way with actually getting them here to the destination so they can experience it. So then moving on to the visitor center, we welcomed 19,060 visitors so far this fiscal year, and that represents a 9% increase over the same time last year. Does anybody have any questions or any additional information for that?
Questions for Ms. Morris? Comments? Seeing none? Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Last, we'll move to beach operations, Nancy Perea.
Morning, Council. Nancy Perea, Beach Operations Project Coordinator, here for Brian Kellenberger today. And I'm going to talk to you about my favorite things. We've got a lot of interesting and fun projects going on. Our 393 municipal parking facility, we're expected to be completed this fall. I don't know if you've driven by there lately, but we've got some windows. The parking lot's getting prepared to open soon, with a bus going down to Ed Walling. I'll get closer to the microphone. Seagrove Regional Beach Access is underway. It's going to open this fall as well. It's going to have a very nice ADA accessible ramp down to the beach. Headland Avenue Neighborhood Beach Access, this one is just about completed. We are waiting on our final as-built. We've got the handrails in. Everything's set to be closed out by our next meeting. Driftwood Road Municipal Parking Facility, that one's under construction currently. We're working on the stormwater component of that right now. Grayton Beach Community Center, that one's going well. We've got the base of the building being built. We're expecting to close Hotz Avenue and Defuniak to do some resurfacing sometime in late October and into November. We plan to be done with all street work before spring break, so we'll have that open. The building won't be open, but the streets will be back open and ready for our spring cruise. Here's some pictures of the municipal parking facilities, the Seagrove Regional Beach Access, Headland, and our Driftwood. We're working on Kellogg Nature Park Center. We'll be getting our building permit soon on that one, and they'll be able to break ground. The Legion Park improvements, we're still in our development order stage. I'm working on some stormwater design there, and once we get that completed, we'll be back to the TRC to move forward with getting that project started. Walton Dunes, the Regional Beach Access, we finally made it through the judicial system on that one, and looks like we're going to be able to proceed. We are working with turtle season on that one, so we will not start this year. We're going to review all our plans, get that ready, so we hope to begin that in November of 2026, once the turtle season ends and we're able to do some construction on the beach. The Oyster Lake Beach Access is still in the design and concept phase, as is the Santa Clara Bramble Grove addition. We've still got the TDC Visitor Center on our back burner, working on that. Our Eastern Lake Beach properties, the San Roy side, we're looking at getting a task order underway to get that design and process as well. The Miramar Beach Municipal Parking Facility, still in the design phase as well. Our beach tram is going strong. They're getting ready to gear up once we get the 393 parking facility open. We're getting ready to expand that service. So a lot of new and exciting things for beach tram as well. Our ridership is pretty consistent over the years. And our trash collection is slightly down over last year. Do you have any questions?
Questions for Ms. Perea? Comments? Seeing none, thank you very much. Are there any other updates from the council members? Any updates? Ms. Edwards?
I have a question, as it relates to the reserve study. Where are we on that?
So that is actually in process. You'll hear about it as part of the steering committee meeting with JLL.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you.
Anyone else?
I just want to say, I think we've talked about this when we've been in this meeting before, but we've created a 30A Rental Operators Alliance, and guys, there's grave concern over where we're at with the short-term rental ordinance. So myself, a representative from Dune, and a representative from 30A Escapes, and Matt have scheduled a meeting with Brian Kellenberger to discuss what are true challenges that people are trying to cooperate and spending hours and hours on this process with very slow response as far as getting numbers back. I continue to want to applaud that team. They are very responsive, but the system's not working, and that's what I'm hearing from not just about every operator I talk to. So just kind of wanted to make the group aware of that.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Any members of the public would like to address the board? Have any comments, questions? Seeing none. Do we have to adjourn this meeting to go into the workshop? Is the workshop set at a time certain?
Unfortunately, it is. I confirmed that with Mr. Auger this morning, whereas we typically like it set to start immediately there following. This was set at 11, so we have about an hour and 8 minutes.
Okay.
So I do need a motion to adjourn.
Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by Ms. Steele, second by Mr. Moffett. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Show that done. We are adjourned.